Tonight, Port Augusta residents call for a royal commission into fly ash dust from the former power station site, and the initiative helping businesses in Broken Hill take their trade to the next level.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Port Augusta residents have grave health concerns over a spate of recent dust events blowing fly ash from the former power station site into town. They've formed an action group and are calling on members of the public to launch a massive protest.
Grave concerns over toxic dust.
When's it going to stop? When is somebody going to do something?
The nurses who work in emergency will tell you they're driving to work, they can see the winds picked up, they can see the dust, and they just know that they're going to have a really busy time there.
Hot, dry conditions paired with strong winds around the former power station site over the past week have churned up clouds.
People experiencing terrible health problems, asthma, dry reaching, itchy eyes, itchy mouth.
Locals have now formed the Port Augusta Dustbusters to call on the government for both a short and long-term fix. Australian GP of the Year and local doctor Amanda Bethel says symptoms from these dust events are common to the area.
The symptoms are things that people manage themselves. They get watery eyes, they get coughing, some people get dry skin. All of these things are things that I see more here than I used to see when I was working in Adelaide.
Exposure that she says could be detrimental in the long term.
We know that the really small particles that have been picked up from the fly ash are ones that are associated in the long term with cancer. The trouble with that is that's really hard to prove as a cause and effect.
The Port Augusta Dustbusters group has gone as far as to call for a royal commission into what's in the dust and its long-term health effects. The group members are encouraging locals to take part in a protest if no action is taken, a slow drive through town with the windows up.
15 centimetres of the topsoil that they have put on, it's not enough.
Flinders Power, the body responsible for the site's remediation, said in a statement that controlling the dust continues to be a challenge. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Mining company Peninsula has been given the green light to reopen its Broken Hill North mine facility. It's been almost 10 years since the mine was last operational. More from Patrick Reinke.
2018 is the year of new life for Peninsula's northern operations, as the company prepares to reach deeper deposits. 140 jobs are set to be created at the silver, lead and zinc mine. It'll also generate around $6 million for the state of New South Wales. The North Mine has an operating plan extending to 2032, but it's expected to take 4 to 5 years for the site to generate profits on its own. Prior to receiving approval, the New South Wales government had requested more details on potential toxic air pollution. It now says the North Mine won't be increasing any blood lead levels. However, transport trucks continue to be a concern for local drivers and council, with a number of roads suffering extensive damage. As well as upgrading intersections along its haulage route, Peninsula will also be required to maintain heritage mining structures on site. Production here at Peninsula's northern operations is expected to start in the first quarter of this year, with recruitment of more workers to continue in the coming months.
Whyalla Council has rejected calls to hold a referendum on whether the proposed new Whyalla High School should go ahead. A member of the public asked the question at the last council meeting, noting there'd be opposition on social media. However, Mayor Lynn Brewer said the project is a state government issue and it would be inappropriate for the council to hold one. Those with concerns are being urged to participate in upcoming state government community consultation. Firefighters on the Eyre Peninsula have received a boost. The state government has committed to the CFS aerial firefighting fleet across the state, with our region set to receive a new aircraft.
They're our saviour from the skies and our first line of defence when bushfires break out. Just a week ago, these fire bombers were called into action when a bushfire tore through properties in the state's southeast.
The test fire ran under catastrophic fire conditions and it's, I think, ended up a bit over 12,000 hectares in one day. Now, that's a huge amount of territory for a fire to burn in one day.
Extra plane support was called in from interstate, prompting the South Australian Government to guarantee aerial support for our volunteer firefighters for the next 5 years.
It's actually a significant commitment by the government towards the safety of the community in the Lower Eyre Peninsula.
The CFS will increase their fleet, including aerial bombers and helicopters, from 17 to 24, with an additional bomber stationed on the Whyalla EP.
The commitment to funding for the next 5 years not only secures current levels of fleet, but it gives us some flexibility for some additional aircraft.
The new planes are being touted as extra support.
People need to remember that the aeroplanes aren't a silver bullet. They're not the answer to everything to do with fire safety and bushfire safety. So, yes, the aircraft are fabulous for backing up and supporting our ground-based firefighters, but it's the ground-based firefighters that actually put the fire out.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, preparations already in full swing for the iconic Tunarama Festival in Port Lincoln. We go behind the scenes next. The possible deregulation of the Broken Hill to Sydney air route could see another airline provide the service. Regional Express operates the service exclusively, but has sought to have the route deregulated by the state government.
We understand that might be coming. We haven't had formal advice or notification of that yet, but we understand that there has been a decision made to deregulate that route.
Council has warned the move may not see another airline operate a service along the route. Police are hitting back at online rumours claiming the amount of youth crime is out of control across Port Augusta. Officers say in a first for the police force, they're hoping to dispel the myth, saying those numbers have in fact reduced.
Large groups of young people in town over the holidays doesn't spell crime. In a historical response, the Port Augusta police are dispelling claims made online of high levels of crime.
Street offences are down, serious criminal trespass are down, property damage is down. So we will have spikes and we still have incidents of this criminality, but we're working hard to continue to reduce.
After a raft of negative social media posts about crime in Port Augusta, the officer in charge of the Far North Local Service area says it's time police told their side of the story.
Well, what it does is it impacts the not only the social fabric, where people have an increased fear about the community, but also it impacts on employment through tourists avoiding the community.
Youth crime data from the Attorney General shows 252 young people were apprehended in Port Augusta in 2011. That's since decreased to just 80 in 2016. And police say that number's only getting smaller.
But generally, crime within Port Augusta is certainly on the downturn, and we've had some really good improvements.
With school holidays in full swing and more people visiting from the northern parts of the state, the Port Augusta police say there's definitely no cause for alarm.
A group of youths that are boisterous and noisy doesn't necessarily mean that they're out of control. It might mean that they're just having a good time that they're playing.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Mayors across the Upper Spencer Gulf are continuing their campaign to have a university hub in the region. They're calling on the state government to provide regional students access to the Port Pirie TAFE building.
Creating an education hub in the centre of Port Pirie. It's the dream of mayors across Port Pirie, Whyalla and Port Augusta. The facility would allow online students to access support services and work face-to-face.
CoTech offices is somebody locally that they can go to for mentoring and support to help them through their courses and their course content.
Empty classrooms in the Port Pirie TAFE Centre would be used to house the CoTech model, with the facility already equipped with the necessary equipment.
Thought it was a great location that wasn't being utilised, so that's why we went to the state government in particular to see whether we could utilise that unused space for the betterment of regional students.
It'll provide students with a sense of university presence without having to travel to a major city to study.
Helps them stay local, improves communities, builds communities, and it can only be good to have people with higher levels of skill in our regional communities.
Works on the model are progressing quickly, with 5 higher education providers already on board.
The University of Adelaide, Flinders University, TAFE, the University of Central Queensland, and a group called Academy who do a lot of work out of Melbourne.
Mayors from across the Upper Spencer Gulf have been campaigning this initiative for a number of years, with hopes it'll become a reality sooner rather than later. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Well, with just a few weeks until Port Lincoln's Tunarama Festival, preparations are certainly in full swing. The event is promising to attract record numbers, with local produce and entertainment set to be put on show.
It's Port Lincoln's signature event, and organisers are hoping this year's will put even more of a focus on our region.
This year we have had a really big focus on local produce and giving our primary producers the platform to be able to showcase their amazing, the amazing produce from around the region.
For 57 years, the festival has graced the Australia Day long weekend on the Lower EP, making the event a destination for visitors, while this year's festival is promising something new for locals.
This time we've added a few different elements with a little bit of a festival feel like in the Mad Hatter's Garden area.
Along with new features, some favourites will return, including Air Square, a bumper attraction at last year's event.
Air Square's got such a different choice of seafoods and local meats and cottage goods, and as far as the entertainment's concerned, there's a great lineup on the stage.
Local bands, including some Adelaide headliners, will entertain the crowd with help from 2 cruise ships docking over the weekend, including the Golden Princess, the largest cruise liner to ever sail into Port Lincoln.
We're very excited to be having the cruise ships coming in over the Port Lincoln Tunarama weekend. There will be an influx and possibly a little bit of congestion down on the foreshore.
And of course, it wouldn't be Tunarama without the tuna toss. Those interested in entering the famous event can sign up on the day. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
After the break, the local businesses receiving a boost from an initiative in Broken Hill. The details next. SA Water has begun a unique trial at its Crystal Brook workshop in the hope of achieving a zero net electricity goal by 2020. Renewable technology will now power the facility in a first for the authority.
Reducing electricity prices and encouraging self-sufficiency. The Crystal Brook SA Water site will be powered by solar panels and batteries as a part of a 12-month trial.
Because of the quality of the sunlight, but also because it's a perfect environment for us to test the future technology that we will implement in our energy policy.
The $500,000 trial will see the site powered through stored energy when required to help achieve the goal of zero net electricity costs.
Our objective is that by 2020 we will be reducing this $55 million of external spend to $0.
The trial will allow the workshop to be smarter about electricity use, and although it's a small-scale trial, it'll help prove the effectiveness of reducing electricity costs. And if the trial is proven to be a success, solar panels and battery technology will be installed in other workshops across the state.
Installing batteries and solar panels at most of our metropolitan Adelaide facilities.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Another Broken Hill business owner has been given the chance to branch out through a community initiative. The ReNu Far West project is helping local entrepreneurs to get a leg up while bringing empty storefronts back to life.
Lindsay Baldwin has been running the Little Bloom studio from her home for the past 3 years.
Doing wedding floristry and occasional delivery days.
Now she set up shop in Broken Hill's main street and is smelling the roses.
It's very different. It's been a bit of a learning curve, so it's very different to operating from home. Before I was just doing set orders and things like that, so I'm getting to meet people and doing meeting people just coming in off the street and just buying, just for home and things like that.
The ReNu Far West program has allowed Lindsay to take her business to the next level. She's been able to secure this storefront just across from the Regional Art Gallery.
The opportunity for me is for 6 months, so through the ReNu project, so it's a really good time for me to sort of really put everything I've got into it.
She's now the third ReNu project in Broken Hill, with Penny Hall Photography and the Tiny Cactus also reaping the benefits of the initiative.
We do have currently 4 other locations available. We do have a couple of applications in place for those programs. So that obviously goes through an approval process to suit the correct tenant to the correct property.
If everything goes really well, which I hope it does, I'll be looking at doing it long term and being a permanent fixture in the main street.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla Council is gearing up for its Australia Day celebration at the town's foreshore. Families are being encouraged to come together for the festival with a new fruity feature set to entertain the crowds.
You might be surprised to learn that competitive watermelon eating is quite the popular pastime, and now Whyalla is looking for its very own champ. Council staff were busy practising ahead of the inaugural contest on January 26 to a varying degree of success. It's hoped local residents will be up for the challenge.
So we are looking for a watermelon eating person to take out the inaugural, hopefully, watermelon eating competition.
The event will form part of the city's annual Australia Day celebrations on January 26 at the Whyalla foreshore. It'll kick off with the honoured fun run. That's followed by a fun day with a sandcastle building competition, entertainment and fireworks.
It's all about family, it's all about friends and those friendships that you've had during the year. It's just about celebrating being together.
Council will also honour citizens who go above and beyond in the local community with its Australia Day Awards.
Do their job without the acknowledgement, and that's what makes these awards so special. They are the people behind the scenes.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. Abby will have all the local weather details, and Abby, we're in for some hot weather.
Yes, things are certainly going to warm up. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. We saw some gorgeous sunny weather around all districts today. It was quite hot in Port Augusta, 31 the top, very pleasant maximums in Whyalla and Port Lincoln, while Broken Hill was caught up in the wild weather in New South Wales, 32 the max there. On the satellite now, and cloud in the south and east with a pair of low pressure troughs is causing showers and thunderstorms, but skies are generally clear elsewhere near high pressure, which is why we saw some beautiful conditions today. On the waters, southwesterly shifting southeasterly winds up to 15 knots and seas quite high at 2.5 metres with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise is at 6:18 while sunset's just before 8:35. Tomorrow, temps are going to heat up in all centres. Port Augusta is heading for a top of 35 degrees, slightly cooler but still warm in Whyalla, 30 the top. Temps are expected to hit 27 degrees in the west, and while the mercury will rise into the high 20s to mid-30s for all other areas. Looking ahead, well, after some pleasant temperatures on Wednesday, the dial will rise for Thursday. It's looking like a scorcher in Cleve and Woodner with that hot weather to bring some showers as well. But temps will cool off quite a lot for Friday with some scattered showers also forecast. And it's looking like sunny and lovely conditions for Saturday. But Port Lincoln is expecting some winds, 23 the top there. A similar story further up the Gulf, but that heat's really going to pack a punch from Wednesday before the mercury rises into the high 30s for Thursday. Port Augusta is in for a scorcher, 41 the top, but the good news is temps will cool off a lot to end the week with some scattered showers before a lovely fine Saturday for all centres. And lastly, it's going to be very hot in Port Pirie and Broken Hill on Thursday before a cool relief brings scattered showers and sees temps drop off for Friday, except for Broken Hill, which will remain very hot, 44 the top there, before sunny and fine conditions for Saturday. So Fraser, it's going to get hot, but it will cool off for some lovely conditions for the weekend.
That is certainly great news. Thanks, Abby. And that's all from the newsroom for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a lovely evening. Good night.